This lesson is on how to find the surface area of a prism using the formula. Now, in order to find the surface area, we're talking about the area of each of the sides added together. So the way that we're going to focus on doing this in this lesson is how to do this based off of a formula. Well, I know that in order to find the surface area of a prism, the first thing that I want to do is I want to find what is called the perimeter of the base and multiply that times the height. Then we're going to add to that 2 times the area of the base. So again, let's make sure that we understand what these variables mean. P represents the perimeter of the base. H represents the height of the prism. And big B here represents the area of the base. All right, now there's 2 different kinds of bases, 3 different kinds that we're going to analyze here in our surface area of a prism. All right, we have a base that is a square. To find its area, that's side squared. We have the area of a rectangle. Its area would be base times height, or length times width. And then we have the area of a triangle, which is going to be base times height divided by 2. All 3 of those formulas you should already be familiar with. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to look at this. And the hard part of finding surface area is determining which part is the base. So remember, when you're dealing with a prism, you have to have 2 identical pieces that are exactly the same shape, and the sides of a prism are always rectangles. So when I look at this object, the first thing that jumps out here is I recognize what I'm highlighting here is the base. All right, in this particular picture, it's the bottom of it. Okay, I recognize that the bottom here is a square. The sides are 5, 5. This side in the back, remember, it's going to be exactly the same as the top. So that's 5. And same thing with the last side here. That's 5. All right. I recognize it's a prism. The first thing I want you to do is write down SA equals PH plus 2 big B. I expect to see that on every one of your worksheets. The second thing I'm going to do is figure out what P, H, and big B are, and then put them into the formula. So off to the side here, I'm going to write P equals. I know that the perimeter is of a square, and the sides are going to be 5 for each of them. So 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 gives me 20. I'm going to write 20 in here for P. H stands for height. Height connects the base to the other base, the bottom in this case to the top. And that's going to be my 8. Plus 2, and big B I'm going to figure out over here. It's a square, so that means I'm going to take 5 times 5, or 25, and I put that in here. All right? The third thing, so I'm going to write down what I'm going to use, and then the third thing, to figure out the surface area, I can simply use a handy-dandy calculator here. I'm going to take 20 times 8 plus 2 times 25. Or I could do the work mentally. But either way, I'm going to end up with a surface area of 210. And I need to make sure that I label this inches, and because it's area, square. I'm going to box up that final answer. For each problem that you do, I expect to see those 3 pieces minimally of work. The perimeter and the base off to the side here, that's entirely up to you, but I would encourage it. All right, so let's look at this next object. The first thing I have to do is figure out who is my base. Well, I'm going to choose to make the base this part right here. So I know that it has to be the same as the top part. And I recognize that the bottom and the top are both identical. And all the sides are made up of rectangles. That tells me I'm dealing with a prism. surface area is perimeter times height plus 2 times big B. I'm going to look at the base first. The perimeter of this base is going to be 12. I got to add up all 4 of the sides. This piece down on the bottom here, I know it's going to be 5. The back side here that's missing, I know that's going to be 12. And this piece towards the top of it, if you will, is also going to be 5. So if I add those together, I get 34. I know that the perimeter here is 34. How do I connect this base to the other base? Well, I got to go up 8, so the height is 8. Plus 2. Now I'm going to figure out big B. That's the area of the base. This base is a rectangle, so its area would be 12 times 5, or 60. I plug that into the formula. All right, the last thing I'm going to do is use my handy-dandy calculator to help me perform this operation. 34 times 8 plus 2 times 60 equals 392. And then I make sure I label it centimeters squared. Our last example here, they give us a base, and if I look at it, I know that the triangle is most probably going to be the base because it's a prism. And the prism, I know that the sides have to be rectangles. So there's my prism. Surface area equals PH plus 2 big B. I need to figure out the perimeter of this triangle. So I need all 3 sides of the triangle. Let's take a look here. 8 is definitely one of the sides. Now I don't know this side measurement down on the bottom, but if I look up to the top to the other base, I see it's 6, and the hypotenuse here is going to be 10. That gives me a perimeter of 24. Now, how this H represents how do you connect one base to the other? Well, that's going to be 11 between the bases. And then I have to figure out big B. So big B is the area of this triangular base. I know that that's going to be base, 8, times height of that triangle, 6, divided by 2, which also gives me 24. I plug that in. I go to my handy-dandy calculator. And I have 24 times 11 plus 2 times 24. And that gives me 312. And then label it kilometers squared. All right, let me know if you have any questions. I think it's pretty straightforward. Good luck.